Hi, friends. My subscriber, Herb Dean, is the gold standard. Ask me a question. If you have to choose between being carnivore or vegan, which one you are going to be? And I choose to be carnivore because I feel that vegan diet is too restrictive. Vegetarian is a little bit better. And I, in my practice, put people on vegetarian diet for several weeks and months, and I took them off the vegetarian diet. But I want to use this opportunity to talk about important topics. I want to talk about protein, carbohydrates. I want to talk about varieties of the food. I also will touch several topics such as low energy in the afternoon, dystimia, weak immune system, hyperactivity, and low energy. So people are listening here and said, oh boy, she's this little old lady. She is throwing there everything, right? Stay with me. Let's go and let's talk about all of that. Now, protein, sources of protein in our diet: meat, fish, dairy, beans, brown rice, nuts and seeds, and egg. They are main. So when I put people on vegetarian diet, I basically eliminate meat and fish. Often people come into my practice, vegetarians, and they will say, I decided to go off the vegetarian diet because I do not feel well. So this is the best patient you want to deal. However, not every person comes into the office and say, I am vegetarian, I have weak immune system, that's why I have those bacterial and viral infections. It usually goes this way. Vegetarian comes into the office and say, hey, listen, I have this lingering bacterial, then viral infection, then again bacterial, then again viral. Blah, blah, blah. So this is the time to look and to reevaluate your lifestyle, and particular in this case, diet, because I explained to person, immune system needs a lot of protein to build antibody and to fight the infection. So my question becomes to a person, do you eat enough protein? It would be yes or no. Or do you absorb this protein? Because it's also maybe lack of absorption, problems with the digestive tract. And quite often people will say, well, it's probably not because I do not eat enough protein. So what I want to say here, I want to add here that nobody can tell you how much protein you need. Some people, when they go off vegetarian diet, they eat meat and fish maybe 3 or 4 times per week. Some will eat 5 times per week. So it is up to you to figure out how often you need to eat. Now, on the topic of varieties, it's important to have variety of different meats and different types of fish. It's not only beef and pork and chicken, different organs, different types of meat, like, for example, turkey will provide us with tryptophan. Tryptophan is amino acid that will put us to sleep. So people who have problems with sleeping will or should probably try to eat turkey, hamburger, or slice of the turkey before the bedtime. Now, so you understand that weak immune system means that not enough protein to build strong immune system. Now, I want to tell that in my life, I made 3 attempts to become vegetarian. So by the end of week 1, I realized that I am gassy and bloated because I was heavy on beans and brown rice. So I started to kind of go less on them and incorporated more nuts, seeds, and eggs. By week 2, I become sick and tired of eggs. By the end of the week 3, I realized that I'm heavy on dairy products, and particular cheeses, creamy cheeses, double cream, triple cream, brie. Unfortunately, in my case, it came with wine. So by the end of the 3rd week, I realized that I become a junkie vegetarian and I'm on the road to become an alcoholic. So I decided, here we go, back on meat and fish. Now, on the topic of simple and complex carbohydrates, I feel that people don't have a clear picture what the carbohydrates are. And you don't need to understand that really deeply. What you need to understand, simple picture. Okay, there are simple carbohydrates and there are complex carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates are one that usually in processed food, such as cookies, cakes, soft drinks, pizza crust, bread, pasta will fall into these categories. Juices have tons of sugar. Here on the right, you see example of complex carbohydrates, whole grains. Now, let's go to the blackboard and talk why it is important to distinguish between simple and complex. As always, I already pre-draw for us my favorite picture of the digestive tract. Here is the mouth with the teeth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and we are going to the bathroom right here. So, simple carbohydrates. When you look at the big picture, the simple carbohydrates looks like that. Piece of sugar connected to piece of sugar, connected to piece of sugar. So this is your soft drinks, bread, pizza, pasta. You put it in the mouth, and in the digestive tract, in the small intestine, this type of the carbohydrates, here is the sugar connected to, you know what, I will draw it right here. It's large intestine, but keep in mind that digestion of carbohydrates takes place right here in the small intestine. So piece of sugar connected to piece of sugar. Under effect of pancreatic enzymes called amylase, this connection between sugars get broken. Basically, this is the connection I'm talking about. When the connection is broken, that sugar becomes available for absorption, and it's absorbed, really fast, and it's get absorbed straight into the bloodstream. This is your bloodstream, like that, and this, the piece of sugar or pieces of sugar that float in there in the bloodstream. The more simple carbohydrates you put into your mouth, bread, pizza, pasta, all goes here, the more sugar get broken and get absorbed into the bloodstream, and concentration of the sugar in the bloodstream becomes high. I want you to think about simple and complex carbohydrates in mathematical terms. So I will draw a graph. Here it is. So this is graph. This is the time. And this is the concentration of the sugar concentration. When we eat simple carbohydrates, so they get in the mouth, get broken down, and get absorbed here in the bloodstream, concentration of the sugar is going high. So when you get up in the morning, it's usually 99, then you eat toast or spaghetti, simple carbohydrates, sugar, because they absorb so fast, okay? Sugar goes in the bloodstream immediately up. This is the high point. Body cannot tolerate this high concentration of sugar. It will start to produce insulin. As a result, sugar will drop down. This drop in the sugar, this low sugar, is low energy, because sugar is a source of energy for us. So insulin pushes the sugar inside the blood cells, and the sugar drops in the bloodstream. Two organs totally depend on sugar in our body. One is brain, and the other red blood cells. After 3 days of no sugar in our diet, brain will start to use fat as a source of energy. However, red blood cells cannot do that. So body have to work constantly to convert different substances in the sugar. So it will convert fat and protein into sugar to make sure that red blood cells and brain, when the sugar becomes that low rapidly, have source of energy. That mechanism is not very efficient. It's clumsy. We have it just exactly for that reason when the sugar is dropping down in our body. Now, when the sugar is that low, the energy is very low. And that's happened often in the afternoon. So people come and complain. They will say, in afternoon, I just cannot stay vacant. That's the low sugar. Also, this very common problem among kids, when they get up in the morning, we give them breakfast, such as Cocoa Puffs with milk, Cocoa Puffs, sugar. They arrive here to school, sugar is high. They're jumping all over in the class. Teacher cannot control them. Then 30 minutes later, sugar drops. They have low energy. They're sleeping in the class. Teacher cannot wake them up. At this moment, they go for recess. What did they grab from the vending machine, or if you put in their lunchbox? Orange juice, for example, cookies, candies, right? What happens to that orange juice? Orange juice is simple carbohydrates, sugar spike, insulin get produced. So they come back into the class, they're jumping all over, teacher cannot control. Then 30 minutes later, sugar drops. Okay, they again are sleeping in the class, teacher cannot wake them up. And this is your whole life, sugar up and sugar down, sugar up and sugar down. My own experience tells me that when people are able to control their sugar, keep that steady, okay, such problems as a low energy, mood swings, and dystimia become better. Not in every case, but often. People underestimate importance of steady sugar. And this is not a simple carbohydrates. To keep sugar steady, you need to eat complex carbohydrates. So complex carbohydrates, unlike simple carbohydrates, looks different. This is your complex carbohydrates. Those round circle, it is piece of sugar. It's the same as this one. The difference between simple and complex is the number of connection that individual piece of sugar has with other sugars. So here is when body start to digest simple carbohydrates. To get to this piece of sugar, it needs to break only 2 connections. Chop, chop, done in no time. When you eat complex carbohydrates, to get to this piece of sugar, I am talking here in the small intestine that digestion happens. I just joined here. To get to that piece of sugar, look how many connections you need to break. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Break 7 connections takes time, means takes this time. So when you eat complex carbohydrate, the digestion takes time, and the sugar absorbed into the bloodstream slowly. As a result, sugar never goes high and never goes that low. So all of this up and down of the sugar with simple carbohydrates happened about in 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's 1.5, right? In time frame. Complex carbohydrates takes time. Okay, so let's go back. So you need varieties of different carbohydrates. Now, this is the busy picture. I took it from at my kitchen, and you can see here what I have. I have a white rice. I think this one is the brown rice. This is the red rice. This is cracked wheat. This is I think this is oats, this is cracked oats, this is buckwheat, amaranth. So you need varieties of different complex carbohydrates. So when you look at the healthy plate, it should be, in most cases, for most people, complex carbohydrates, protein and fat in form of meat, fish, rice and beans in case of vegetarian. But, rice and beans is for vegetarians, but meat and fish for people. And they look at that huge portion of vegetables. So that's it, guys, for today. If you have any questions, please ask me here. Otherwise, like, subscribe, and bye-bye for now.